Hello, and welcome to Module 1 of Understanding Article 7. My name is Wilner Cusick, and I will be serving as your host for this session. I've been an employee with InSource for 15 years as a program specialist. I am also the parent of an adult daughter with autism. My professional experience with InSource, along with being the parent of a child with special needs, has allowed me to help parents advocate for their sons and daughters receiving special education services. During this time, I have also provided training to parents and professionals. This module will serve as an introduction to Article 7 Special Education in Indiana. This session will provide you with more specific issues and details. We anticipate that you may have questions. Therefore, at the end of each module, additional information will be provided to you. If you still have questions or more information is needed, you can contact us at 800-332-4433 or email us at insource@insource.org. Thank you for your time and your interest. Under Article 7, Indiana Special Education Rules, public schools are required to follow specific special education procedures, and parents are to be included in educational decision-making. In this session, we will discuss 1. An overview of the laws affecting special education, 2. Rights and protections for parents and students, and 3. Parent participation. About InSource. Our mission, the Indiana Resource Center for Families with Special Needs, InSource, is to provide parents, families, and service providers information and training necessary to assist with effective educational services for children and young adults with disabilities. InSource is both state and federally funded. InSource was established in 1975 and was one of the first 5 parent centers ever funded. All states now have at least one parent center, and some larger states have even more than one. Most InSource employees are parents or have family members with disabilities. How we help? InSource serves the entire state of Indiana with the help of 17 regional staff. The home office is in South Bend and houses 5 program specialists. InSource provides assistance by phone and conducts training sessions for families of children with disabilities. These trainings provide parents and their families with extensive information about the special education process. We also provide extensive training to our network of volunteers around the state. Parent volunteers share what they have learned with parents in their communities. InSource also accompanies parents to case conferences and school meetings to offer support and information. InSource are committed to helping parents improve outcomes for their infants, toddlers, children, and young adults with disabilities. InSource also has an online community for parents. Special education law. Special education focuses on 2 levels of law, one being federal, IDEA, the Individuals with Disability Education Act, and the other being the state Article 7, which is based on IDEA and which includes Indiana special education rules. Relationship of federal and state laws. Congress creates and updates laws on a regular basis. This process is called reauthorization. Following this process, federal departments develop regulations to implement the laws. State regulations are then drafted to at least meet, if not exceed, the law. States must follow IDEA federal regulations. Reauthorization of IDEA usually occurs every 5 years. Revision of the state rules follows reauthorization of IDEA, which usually has a lag time of 2 to 3 years. States must meet the minimum requirements of IDEA, however, they can do more than the minimum requirements. Purpose of IDEA. Before the mid-1970s, schools were allowed to deny services to students with disabilities. Thanks to some determined parents and advocates, the federal law was passed to provide educational services to these students. This law is now referred to as the IDEA. The purposes of IDEA are to ensure a free, appropriate public education, to provide federal funding to states to assist in educating students with disabilities, to provide a plan for each student to succeed, and to plan for employment and independent living. The 6 principles of IDEA. The 6 principles are the basic rights IDEA provides to eligible students. Being familiar with these principles are advantages parents will have in understanding their students' rights while working with school staff. Non-disabled students have a right to a free public education, but do not have all the protections of these 6 principles. Free appropriate public education, which is also called FAPE, means that students with disabilities have rights to educational services appropriate to meet their needs. Appropriate services is not the same as best services. Individualized education plans, which is also called the IEP, is a written plan that describes the special education services the student is to receive. Appropriate evaluation provides information about the student's educational needs that results from the student's disability. LRE, least restrictive environment, means that students with disabilities should be educated with typical students in general education classes with same age peers as much as possible. Procedural safeguards are a set of rules and procedures designed to protect students, parents, and school rights. Putting IDEA to work. Parents, always remember that FAPE means appropriate services to meet the individual need of the student. Did the evaluations provide fair, accurate, and comprehensive information that can be used to plan for the student? Does the student have an IEP, individualized education plan, that is being implemented? Is your student receiving services in their home school with typical peers as much as possible? Is the school following the procedural safeguards while working through the special education process? Are you, the parent, invited to participate and included in educational decisions? These are some very important questions to ask yourself. Remember, you are an important component of this process. If your concerns as a parent are related to any of these principles, this is an indication that you have a right to work with the schools to explore options and problem solve with the school staff to improve services. Remember that many of the answers lie in the process. 3 ways to count days. It is important to understand the differences in the way days are defined when considering timelines in Article 7. These timelines will be referred throughout the training session, so let's note them now. Day means calendar day unless otherwise specified as an instructional or business day. Instructional days are days that school is in session. Business days are weekdays, Monday through Friday, except for federal or state holidays. The definition of all 3 types of day can be found in Rule 32 in the definition section of Article 7. For example, the school has 45 calendar days from the date of a request to provide a parent with access to the student's educational records and 10 business days to either amend or refuse to amend information in a student's record. Educational evaluations must be completed within 50 instructional days from the date the parent gives written consent for evaluations. Many different timelines are attached to various actions throughout special education process. Who is the parent? Article 7 says the biological or adoptive parent whose rights have not been restricted by a court, the guardian, included a court-appointed temporary guardian, foster parent, person with legal custody such as grandparent, relative, or other adult who accepts full legal responsibility for the student with whom the student lives. The definition of parent clarifies who may participate in the special education process and who is considered a parent. Also, an educational surrogate parent, ESP, is an adult trained to understand the special education process, a volunteer assigned by the school or court, one who represents educational needs of the student when the parent's rights are restricted by the court, the student themselves with a disability who is 18 and has no court-appointed guardian, the parent or educational representative when a student is certified as incapable of providing informed consent. Remember that parent involvement is one of the 6 basic principles of IDEA. Procedural safeguards. This is another one of the 6 principles of IDEA. Procedural safeguards are incorporated in every part of the special education process. As you learn more, you'll see how they are woven throughout the process to protect student rights. Procedural safeguards are a set of rules and procedures that define and protect student and parent rights. They also outline the special education process that schools must follow, provide specific protections involved in the process, and they're only available to students receiving special education services. Parents use these safeguards to participate and interact with the school. Notice of procedural safeguards. School has a responsibility to provide parents with written information about procedural safeguards. At the start of the case conference, a notice of procedural safeguards is given to the parent. This document is a comprehensive explanation of all rights listed. Each right listed requires the school to follow specific procedures. Parents' knowledge and understanding of procedural safeguards help to make schools accountable to uphold rights. Parents participate in the process. Procedural safeguards give parents the right and responsibility to participate in the special education process, especially when decisions need to be made about their student services. Note, one of the most important principles of IDEA is that of the parent participation in the special education process. Points listed here reflect times when parent involvement is expected and may be anticipated by the school. This list is not exhaustive. It is important that parents remember that by federal and state law, they are active members of the Case Conference Committee. Parents are part of the team that make educational decisions and monitor services agreed upon in the IEP. Parents also have the right to talk with teachers and other providers and reconvene the Case Conference Committee meeting as needed. It might be helpful if the parent who is willing to work as an equal member of the team states their intention at the beginning of a Case Conference Committee meeting. For example, I will share what I know to be true about my student. I will listen to others as they share what they know. I want us to work together in the best interest of my child. The parent may need to ask these questions. They might wish to ask the conference committee members how to contact them directly to check in regarding students' needs and progress. They might ask to reconvene the Case Conference Committee meeting to consider other options, discuss issues, or ask for changes. Partnering with the school. The Indiana State Board of Education Family Involvement Policy states, "Our vision for the education of Indiana students centers on the understanding that family involvement is essential. This involvement is crucial for the academic achievement of every child." This is also supported by a statement in the 1997 amendments of IDEA stating that over 20 years of research and experience have demonstrated that the education of children with disabilities can be made more effective by strengthening the role of parents and ensuring that families have meaningful opportunities to participate in the education of their children at school and at home. IDEA contains many references to parent participation, and this focus is continually repeated. After all, parents have a unique and valuable knowledge about their student. Partnering with the teachers' expertise and experience along the student's input when possible and appropriate makes for good communication, which is key. Just as parent participation is very important to the success of the student, parent-school partnerships can create strong working relationships that benefit the student as well. Roadmap to special education. This illustration will be used throughout the training as a reminder of the flow of the special education process. Remember, special education is a process. Each balloon represents a required step in that process. Helpful to parents to understand the flow of the process. It helps to understand that placement decisions should not occur before the determination of eligibility occurs. The following modules will take you further down the road to a more complete understanding of the special education process. In the meantime, should you need further clarification on what has been presented, please contact InSource with any of your questions. Our toll-free number is 1-800-332-4433.